week. Got to speak at that, so pretty privileged to be able to get on the road and speak hoops. As Coach said, I'll tell you a little bit about my bio. So I grew up in Idaho and went and played at Blue Mountain Community College in Oregon here at the NWAC. And then went over to Montana Western for 2 years where I was a student assistant with a guy named Steve Keller. Got to coach a kid named Brandon Brown from the Tacoma area from Wilson High School. Was a really good player. Actually, I shouldn't say I got to coach him. I helped recruit him there, and then I left. But I had 2 years there at Montana Western. Then went to college in Southern Idaho, which is a junior college, the winningest junior college in the country. Got to coach a lot of really good players. Was privileged to be a part of the 2011 National Championship team. Got to coach 2 NBA pros. Garrett Jackson, who went to Baylor, was drafted in 2013. And Carrick Felix, who went to Arizona State, was actually drafted in 2013 as well. So I've been around a lot of talent. Within these last 4 years, I was our associate head coach at College of Idaho. I worked with Scott Garson, who was at UCLA for 9 years with Ben Allen, at Utah for 5 years with Richard Jarrett. So I've been pretty privileged to coach good players and coach with really good coaches. But lucky for me, he took off, went to Santa Clara, and they bumped me up to be the head coach here in April. And so it just got real the other day. Summer was pretty normal, and then when all the guys showed up on campus, it became really real. So, but excited to be the head coach, especially College of Idaho. For me, that's my hometown, and so to be there is pretty special. If you haven't heard much about us, I consider us a top 5 NAIA program in the country. We finished last year ranked number 3rd in the country. We lost in the Final Four. We had 20 minutes. We were up 5 at half and just didn't play great. 20 minutes to play in the national championship game. But had a heck of a team. Went 30-7. Was the 2nd best team in the school's history. Our 2 bigs that we graduated were all Americans. We bring back all of our guards from that team. So we have a great experience. I expect to be really good again. We've had 8 players in the last 5 years go overseas or go over and play professional basketball overseas, which is pretty cool for a small college to have 8 guys and have opportunities to go play overseas. It tells you we have some good players. I've gotten to coach 5 All-Americans in my 4 years there, and hope that we have a few more. So that's a little bit of background on me. This is actually my first clinic speaking about our zone because we just started running it last year. I'll tell you some more about the details, but we were always a man team through and through, and ran into some issues early in the season last year, and went to a zone and never got out of it. And I'll tell you a little bit about more why we did it. But if I'm looking at my note card, it's only because this is the first time that I've actually spoken about the zone. I want to make sure I'm giving you guys the right information. But I thought I'd share a story with you, and these guys might relate to it. But this is my first year being a head coach, and so I'm getting to deal with all the little things that pop up. And I had a player. This tells you the age that we're in now. Had a player show up late to our last workout last week. Great kid, phenomenal kid, freshman, going to be a doctor, taking biology classes, big time family. I got to coach him in AAU, phenomenal kid. Shows up late, and pops in, makes no excuses, just plays his butt off in the workout. And at the end we break, and he comes right up to me and he says, "Coach, I will run. I'm sorry I was late, I will run." And I looked at him, I said, "I don't want you to run." And I'll explain some of that stuff later, but I said, "I don't want you to run." He goes, "Really? You don't want me to run?" And I said, "I just want to know why you were late. I get it, you're a freshman, why were you late?" And this was his exact quote. He said, "I'm so sorry." He goes, "Well, my Alexa didn't wake me up. I told Alexa to wake me up at 6 a.m. and it didn't wake me up." And I remember, I just thought to myself, like, holy crap, this is the age that we're in now. So hopefully, now you have to put that on your notebook to make sure you tell your players that Alexa needs to know when they're getting up. But that was one of my first things I had to deal with the other day. So anyway, let's talk zone. Let's talk 2-3 matchup zone. Last year, going into the year, we had a great team. We had big, long wings, and we went and played at Montana Western and got beat by like 10 down the stretch. Played a good game, but got beat. And then looking at the stat sheet, we'd given up 57 free throw attempts, out of which I think they only hit like 35 or 37. We'd given up 57 free throw attempts, and what we realized was we can't stay in front of the ball. Our wings were too big, and we weren't disciplined enough to stay in front of the ball. And so that changed. We were 1-3 at that point. We finished 30-7, and we were 1-3 to start the year. So that changed our mindset. We decided to start with a very basic 2-3 zone. We knew some principles of it, and we just let it grow throughout the year. So some of the things I'm going to talk to you about, we didn't actually even implement until the last 10 games of the season, or the last 5 games of the season. But what we found, and what was really cool, was never did we ever give up another 57 free throw attempt game. The most we gave up was like 20, I believe, and there were a lot of single-digit nights where guys weren't getting free throws against us. So that was a huge deal. The other big thing we found was that we were actually able to guard the three-point line better than you might think. And I'll give you some statistics here, but we guarded the hell out of the three-point line. What we do in our zone that was fantastic for us was we forced people to play one-on-one with our 5-man. And so it wasn't a system that could really break us down. We were able to beat most systems. What broke us down a little bit against the zone, we lost 4 games in the zone, was somebody who could beat us one-on-one. So if we're playing a team that maybe doesn't quite have a ton of talent or doesn't have a ton of individual talent, you're going to see a huge success rate there. And I'll give you some tips. I know you guys just talked zone offense. I wish I could have been here to see that. I would have been curious to see how we could match to the zone offense. But the other big thing is it's a little bit easier to scout. There's not as many concepts in zone. And so we loved it, especially because we played Friday, Saturday night, and it was a quick turnaround. And Saturday, we didn't have to go over a ton. It kept our team a lot more confident, knowing that they felt like they had a lot more answers going into a game when it was a quick turnaround. So that's a couple reasons of why to do it. Last year, we ended up being the #1 defensive team in the country. We only gave up 64 points a game. We held a college team to 37 points one game. We held 2 teams to 47 points, and we held multiple teams into the 50 to 55 range. And it was pretty demoralizing for a lot of teams that averaged 80 or 90 points at our level. You guys have seen our level, Northwest University here in Kirkland. If you've seen our level, great shooters, lots of offensive talent. And so the way that we played defense last year was pretty demoralizing at times. We were the #2 defensive rebounding team in the country, total rebounds on the season. This zone actually helps you block out more, and I'll explain that a little bit later. That might be an old myth that how do I block or how do I rebound out of it? Well, the way that we do it, I'll teach you. We were the #7 victory margin team in the country. We won our games by 12 points or more, which was important to us. We were number 13 in the country at three-point defense. We only gave up 32% in the three-point line, playing our zone all year long. And then we were the #17 team in the country for field goal percentage. We only gave up 42%. The other teams only scored at 42% playing against us, which is pretty dang good. So here's your keys, and then I'll start getting here with these guys. Here's the keys, and it sounds very simple, but this is what we would always say on the bench. No layups. No crazy threes, I call them no wild threes, all right? And no offensive rebound putbacks. Those are points that we can't account for. So if we were down at halftime, more often than not, they got a crazy kick-out three that we couldn't account for, or they were beating our butts on the board, they got 3 offensive rebound putbacks. We can account for everything else, and I'll tell you where we're going to give up points. But no layups, that's where we're going to keep our middleman right in front of the rim. No threes, I'll teach you guys how to match to the three-point line. And then no offensive rebound putbacks, I'll teach you guys how we rebound out of it. We got our 1 here on this side of the court, our 2's here. We always want our 3 here. We want our 4 opposite because most shots are taken from the right side of the floor, so we want our best rebounder on the back side. And of course, we're going to have our middleman here, okay? Now here's the deal. We literally started the year with just a couple basic principles, and we just built as we went. We went into a game against LCSC at home, Lewis and Clark State, very good team. We literally had 2 concepts out of the zone. The first 2 things I'll teach you, and we didn't know anything else, and we just developed as the year goes on. But pretty simple key, we put a line right down the middle of the court here, and Marcus here is going to pick the ball up anytime the ball's on the right side of the floor here, okay? It'll just be squared up right here in front of you, okay? If the ball was to come down this side of the floor, or even right here on the green line, remind me of your name? Isaiah would tell Marcus, hey, I got it. So as the year goes on, you guys can kind of dictate who picks the ball up. There will be sets and plays. There will be teams who bring the ball right down the middle of the floor. And as you're scouting, there might be games where you want Marcus to start here, or you want Isaiah to start and let Marcus match to the wing. And we'll get into some sets where that will make more sense here. But those are things that you can do up top. You guys will find that the zone has a ton of change-ups as well. It's not, you can do a lot of stuff out of it. It's actually really fun to try to figure out how do I guard certain things out of it. But so Marcus has the ball right here, okay? In fact, let me grab a point guard here. Let's slide here. you got it. Okay, Marcus is going to have the point. All right, let me grab the wing here. Go ahead. I'll see you in a wing over there. Okay, so this is a match. When the ball's outside the three-point line, we are playing traditional zone rules, but this is a matchup. When the ball goes inside the three-point line, we're playing game rules. So my man right here is going to guard the wing here. This is your matchup. All right, let's get a high post here. Go ahead. You got it. Right here's the high post, and you're going to be my low post here. Okay, so right now everybody's seeing their match. Okay, Isaiah knows right now that he doesn't necessarily want the ball to go to the high post, but I'm going to talk about that. That's actually where we do want it to go. So Isaiah is sitting here with a hand. All right, you know that this is your match. You've got your match right here. You know that this is your match, but we're still set up in a zone. We don't just run to our matchups right now. We won't do that until the ball comes inside the three-point line. All right. Now here's the basic rule for every possession. We didn't change this one time last year. You can, and in terms of passes, let me go ahead and get a catch here. We bump the wing a little bit higher, actually. We bump the wing every single time the ball goes to the wing. So right here, Marcus sees us up here on the wing. He's going to bump down, okay? And now you're pushing back down here. All right, right here to this match. And now your matchups are all changing. Okay, so now Isaiah's matchup is changed right here. Go ahead and sit there up a little bit. Most basic offenses, right, against zone are 3 around 2. So I'll give you some different looks here. But now this is Isaiah's match. Okay, there's his match. And we always want, you're going to sit right in front of the basket, but we always want our middleman guarding the high post. Okay, let's go ahead and reverse it. Right here, now stop. This is a big key. Because we're in a matchup, we don't over-rotate. We don't want Marcus to get excited. This is what happens all the time. Marcus will get excited. He'll come up here and try to get into a gap, and now we've got 2 guys guarding the ball. We never want 2 guys guarding the ball. Marcus needs to stay with his match until the ball gets reversed all the way to the other side of the wing, okay? So stay here, Isaiah. Ball gets reversed to the wing. What do we always do? We're going to bump the wing, okay? So now Isaiah's coming here, bumping his defender back. Now that's when Marcus comes here, okay? Again, if you were to throw up top, what you don't want, this is where you're going to give up wild threes. Isaiah might over-rotate here, think he needs to come up here, and now we've got an open player here where they throw it back and get a wide open 3. You've got to keep your match, okay? So now you bump out, right? That's your match right now. Okay, throw it again. Okay, Marcus is going to bump the wing. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, Colby. Yes. Defense go light color real quick. Yes, good call. Defense go white. Okay, now there's actually some technique to this, and there's a little warm-up drill. We always teach our guys, come over here. We always teach our guys when they bump, and this is actually different. Our zone guru in Idaho actually never did this, and he kind of liked it, that we bounce ideas off of. When we bump from the wing, when Isaiah comes and bumps me, we teach our guys to turn, look corner. If their matchup's corner, then they're going corner. If they don't see their matchup there, then they're sprinting here with their head to the basket. They're not worried about the ball. They know Isaiah's got it. And they're coming right down here to body up a short corner player here. Now I'll tell you, if there's nobody here, I'll tell you what to do here in a second. But so we teach them to bump here, look corner. If their matchup's there, great. If not, they're coming right down the court here and they're going to body up right here. We want them to body up because if they were to throw to the high post, the middleman's going to take the high post, and so you got to get down here as a wing and you got to body this guy up so they can't go high-low. And I'll show you that here in a second. But here's a warm-up drill every day that we would do. Let's get 2 lines right down here. He will come back to these spots. Let's get 2 lines. Isaiah and Marcus, you guys are right here first. Okay? So just right here next to each other. Throw me that ball, man. So this would be a warm-up drill every day for us, okay? We'd come out right before maybe we did warm-ups. We'd have another coach on the other sideline, all right? And you got to call, I got to help. There's a ton of man principles to this. So we teach our man defense first before we ever get to the zone. I'll go through the next 3 weeks teaching all of our man defense first before I ever tell them any zone stuff. But so you guys are sitting here and help, okay? On the go, Isaiah would close out here, okay? You're closing out, and he's going to trace the ball for about 2 or 3 seconds here, all right? And when coach says bump, he's going to turn and sprint. And what we would do is we'd put another, if you have a coach or another player that can do it, we'd have him go back and forth between the block and the corner, and we'd give him a pad. And that way Isaiah could turn and he could either find the corner, or the guy would have a pad, the other coach would have a pad right here, Does that make sense? So let me get a guy in blue here. I think that right here. You're going to be right here on the block, okay? Isaiah, Marcus, you're going to go. We can do it on two sides. We won't do it today for the amount of coaches I have. But Marcus, you just hang out for a second. You'll go next year, okay? But when I say go, you're going to close out, trace the ball. When I say bump, you're going to turn to sprint. I want your head to look there, and then you got to find him. If he's on this block, I want you to chest him up hard, okay? So you're going to be talking. Here we go. Good, chest. Nice, good job, okay? Now here's one thing. I'm here to talk about 2-3 zone, but there's no substitution for energy and effort and excitement for your players, right? And in your program. So guys, if Isaiah does something good, you guys should be rewarding him with your rewards, right? You guys don't need to be intimidated by me that if Isaiah gives a hell of a closeout and does it right, and he gets a steal on that, you should be going nuts. So we're going to practice that. Marcus, you're next. You're going to So what do you guys think you should be doing down there on the baseline right now? Marcus is getting ready to play defense. Yeah, good. Help. There's a study about smokers in a book called The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell. I love this idea. He says smoking isn't cool. He said research shows that smoking's not cool. It's those who do it that is cool, right? Nobody smokes because they think smoking's cool. They do it because mom did it, dad did it, best friend did it, whoever, right? So you gotta be permission givers. You were just a permission giver right there, right? You guys are too excited to be excited and clap. You guys gotta give each other permission to do the right thing, okay? Let's get back out here on offense and defense hustle. So that's just a warm-up drill. We go through it 2 times each side. Alright, so now we're training our guys to find the corner. You can move your coach back and forth. Alright, moving through it. Here we go.
I'm saying.
So we bump the wings, we did the closeout drill. Okay, now, the whole key, let's move over here so they can actually hear us. So Isaiah, take that wing right now. Okay? And you're in the short corner, perfect. Okay? So the whole key that we want is at the end of the day, we want the ball to go to the high post, but we're not going to try to let it get in there so easy. So our starting point guard, Tal Pinckney, was number 5 in the country for steals last year. The reason was because we told him we wanted to get really active and get deflections. So we know that this is open right now, but we still got our heels on the 3-point line, and we're still trying to get deflections, even though we're okay with it going in there. Okay? So let's say they throw to the wing. Okay? You've got your match right here, so you're guarding on top just like this. Okay? You just bump down, so you're just like this. Where's your match at? It's at the high post. So let's say we finally throw it in. Okay? So we throw it in here. Let me make sure that I'm going in order so I don't get you guys confused here. Okay? So we throw it in, and now this is a big key. Now you already made a vital mistake. You know what you did? You stepped up, so now the basket's unprotected, okay? So most teams have a charge circle at our level. We tell our players to put their heels on the charge circle. Go ahead and move back to the free throw line. What we want is long twos. We're going to give up long twos every day. No layups, no threes, right? And we're trying not to foul, give up any free throws or offensive rebound putbacks. This shot right here is really hard to make. Go ahead and face up. It's extremely hard to make, especially psychological when you get to about 7 minutes left in the game, all right, and it's tight. They might think that here's what's going to happen. They're going to practice this shot all week knowing they're playing West Seattle High and they're going to a zone. Somebody's going to run in here and hit this shot about 2 times in a row, and then when the game's tied in the 4th quarter, they don't want to take that shot anymore because they've missed it once or twice. We sit over here on the bench, and I'll tell you, it's the funniest thing in the world. We'll sit right here, and most teams, right, they'll send their 4 or their 5 man right to the high post, not their skilled guard. They'll send somebody in there who potentially can't shoot, right? So they'll send him in here, and he'll grab it, he thinks he's wide open, and he rockets that thing off the backboard, and our whole bench goes nuts for each other. They did it again! They shot it again! And then we can't believe it. It just shocks us all the time. I'll tell you some good things to do against it here in a second, but we want to give this shot up. This shot is the hardest shot for them to make. Even if they make 1 or 2, most teams that we played, this guy made the most points because he shot this shot about 15 times and made it about 6 times. So we're going to give it up. When the ball goes in, we're yelling match. Now here's the big key. I've told you the zone principles, now we're getting to the man principles, okay? So when the ball goes in, we're all yelling scouting report as the season goes on. We didn't do this at the beginning. When we started, Marcus would touch his match every time. Then as we got through scouting reports, and if we didn't think he was a scorer or shooter, then maybe we would dig a little bit right here, just try to make him uncomfortable. But if this is a big time scorer, we're matching it. So now what we have is we don't have any kickouts, 0 kickouts. So what you see is they catch and they want to kick it out real quick and they realize they can't do it. Okay? So that's a big deal. They've got no dump downs here. Okay? We're not going to give up a layup. What will happen is when we get on the move, guys, if you come running out of the hole and we're not quite matched up yet, somebody will slash, we'll give up a wide open layup right here. So your job is just to sit right here until you know. This middleman happened to be our defensive player of the year last year and a first team All-American. So he was really good. He ran the show. He was tough. He could see when Isaiah, when Marcus, and everybody had their match. Then he can start to encroach a little bit and try and play some defense here. But he was okay giving this shot up. Okay? Now what you can see here is if a shot goes up, everybody's got their block out responsibilities. We didn't ever give up offensive rebounds. And that everybody says it's really hard to block out of the zone, right? The problem is nobody knows who their matchup is in the zone. In this, when the ball goes inside the three-point line, everybody knows who their block out responsibility is. Right? So, that's what we want. Now, what a lot of teams will do is they'll give up, they'll stop taking this shot because they know it's hard, and then they're going to play one-on-one with the 5-man. So now you engage, and as long as the ball's inside the three-point line, we got to stay with our matchups. We're in man right now, and I'll explain that here in a second how we stay with that. Okay? So that's the easiest way to match up because they have in this case, let's go ahead and go back up. Okay, and in fact, Marcus is over here. Drop down, you take the wing. I'll show you guys how we got to it here. Go ahead and sit her up again. Okay, this is the most typical way to play zone offense, right? 3 around 2, you throw it. Okay, Isaiah's going to bump the wing. You're going to turn, body up into the short corner, throw it to the high post here. Okay, that's an easy matchup. That's really easy, all right? Now, if you're not quick enough, they'll catch this thing and maybe throw it over the top. That's why you got to stay back for a second in case that matchup's not quite there yet, okay? But that's very, very easy. That's a very easy situation. What I actually found, which is going to be my new zone offense, is it's really hard to guard when they keep the short corner opposite. So, let's do this. Move to the opposite side. Okay, let's throw the ball back up here. Isaiah, you take it. Marcus, go ahead and run down. So like Oregon Tech played us the second time in the league, and their deal was to just fire the ball around the perimeter, get us bumping, all right, bumping as much as we could, and then they keep their short corner opposite of us, and here's where it creates confusion. So as you throw the ball, okay, Isaiah's coming here, you're turning to bump, all right? Sage, and Sage all of a sudden realizes he doesn't have a matchup. Okay? So Sage has to now start realizing his matchup right now, go ahead and bump out. His matchup, this is how we started the year. And it changed when we went to the national tournament. His matchup, we wanted the high post to be the middleman's responsibility. So Sage would have to recognize that his matchup is right over here on the opposite block, right? But we don't go to our matchups until when? Does anybody know? Okay, good. So most commonly the ball goes high post or it goes inside the three-point line. So we're constantly having to know where are our matchups. So Sage right now is saying to his middleman right now, hey, I got block if it goes, I got block if it goes. So let's go ahead and say you throw it in. So this is where it's important for you to just put your heels right here because this will be a layup. If you step up, this backside guy, I'll do this entry every time. This guy has to make a choice who to guard. He has no idea who to guard. If he comes down here, right here, and stays here, that's a wide open 3. If he stays out here and you step up too far, it's a bounce pass for a layup. Okay? So we're going to keep our short corner opposite now because it puts a ton of pressure. But on the catch, what Sage would do is he'd move over here and body up. Okay? Once we're matched, now you can play one-on-one. Okay, so come over here, Sage. Now, this is where your scouting reports come into play. We did that to try and keep it simple for like the first 5-10 games we did it. And then we realized as the year went on that it all depends on matchups, okay? Let's say they keep their 6'10", 250-pound post down here, go back to your stage. And they've got more of a scoring guard up top. Now as you guys get better, you have to remember this. We played it every possession. This wasn't a secondary defense for us. We played it every possession, and so we got better and better at it. We didn't just try to hide things, we tried to fix everything. And so about 10 games left in the year, we realized that Sage and what's that mean? Vlad? Okay. Sage and Vlad here, they can be talking, and on the entry here, if we know that's a 6'10", if that's the big man, and we don't want Sage maybe to guard him, all of a sudden now Sage can take up here to the high post. But we don't have to overreact to him because we know we were okay with them shooting this high post shot. They got to make 30 of these shots to make 60 points. As long as we don't give up wild threes, as long as we don't give up offensive rebound putbacks, we're not fouling a ton, that shot can't beat you. It really can't. All right? And I'm glad I'm here today because we play with a shot clock, and I don't know if this zone would be good without a shot clock, to be honest with you. There's too much stuff going on, and you get into some pickles, like you probably are wondering, well, what the hell? Sage is going to be over there on the opposite block guarding a guy. Now we're not in our zone, and I'll get there. But with that shot clock, you can fix a lot of stuff pretty quickly. All right? So one option, we did this in the national tournament, is Sage knows to go ahead and match here. You know to go ahead and match there. And now we're in man. Okay? Does that make sense? If you guys have questions, please ask. And I'm going to tell you some other scenarios that we guard too. So, the matching part is huge. Now they got to play one-on-one. They've got no easy kickouts, all right? And we've got blockout position. We make them finish over us and through us every time, all right? Let's do this. Now, get back to your original setup. Now, let it have here. Or let's come back down here. Throw the ball up top. Okay? So, that's kind of the actions you're going to see. I'll show you ball screen stuff here in a second. But here's another thing that will happen to you. Here's where the shot clock's big. Go ahead and Sage and guard the wing. Okay? They throw it to the wing. We bump every time. Okay? Sage is looking. Alright? Let's go ahead and Sage down here this time. Alright? Let's say they fired it. Now this is where deflections are huge. You can't have direct passes. We stat deflections during the game. And we'll tell them every time out, hey, we've only got 10 deflections. We got to get more. We're going to 20. All right, so Isaiah's hands, and he's jumping. All right, he's here to contest the shot if he does take one. All right, but let's say they throw it to the high post now this time. Here's something that we found out about 5 games in that's really hard to guard. It's when teams start slashing. So move down to the corner there. So you know you've got your matchup. If this was hard, is when this backside guy right here might slash to the rim. So guess what? We're in man right now. So you got to follow him all the way through here, even then say you go to the corner, or my fault, okay? So here's where now some of your man stuff comes. If you can switch Sage out to the corner and you can stop here because we'd like to get you back, that'd be great, all right? If you guys come together, you guys can switch that stuff, all right? But you got to follow him until that ball goes outside the three-point line. So here's where we have to get good at. Let's say you don't have an option and you decide to throw it. Let's say Marcus is digging a little bit and you throw it back out. We call our zone 2, and so right now at this point we'd be yelling 2, back to 2, right? And you would move back to this side. And more often than not, if we have active guards, it's not a problem. Or because of the shot clock, we can get back into our zone where we need to be at. Okay? Let's go ahead and go back to the corner. Here's another hard action. Go ahead and Isaiah's got it again. Okay, go ahead and throw it to the wing. Throw it in. And let's say they slash from the top now. This was hard, much harder to guard. So Marcus has this matchup. Let's say you slash all the way to the block here. Okay? Now, because we're in man, because the ball's inside the three-point line, Marcus has to stay with it. Has to, alright? For your first couple games, I wouldn't overcomplicate it until you can get film. Just tell them to stay with them. As you guys get better, all of a sudden you see now that they probably can switch this off. Marcus, as he's coming through here, might tell his wing here as well. And now Marcus can take this matchup and stay right in this area. Okay, so if your top and your wings come together, you can hand off. But guys will cut and you got to stay with them. And so what might happen sometimes, let's say Marcus got stuck down here. Okay, if you're out here, this might happen. Okay, let's say you throw it back out. Now, we've got 16 seconds left on the clock and we just got to play. So maybe you're up top now. And Marcus is just yelling, hey, stay there. It's one possession. It's one stop. And you're hoping that you've done enough practice that your wings have a little bit of a concept of maybe what they're supposed to do up top, okay? That's where I think if you don't have a shot clock, this zone could potentially get you into some trouble. But at this point, it's not a problem. It's very basic concepts, and he'll understand how to play the top for long enough, all right? Any questions on the slash or matching to a high-low pass? No? Okay. Let's talk some ball screen stuff. Oh, one quick thing. Now we're getting really advanced. We got one game, we gave up 100 points in this and got our butts kicked. Here's what happened. Marcus, come back up here. Okay. My point guard, come back up here. Let's say you're spread out here. Maybe go to the wing here. Okay. There's teams that will play 5 out against us. And they throw the ball, Southern Oregon, we throw the ball to the high post. Okay, go ahead, throw it in there. So what do? We yell match. You guys yell match. Okay, so you guys gotta really yell. Nice, right there. Here, give me that ball. Give me that ball. When that ball goes in, you guys, you're help right now. You guys are help. When the ball goes in, everybody, your bench, everybody's gonna yell match. Okay, ready? Ball. Yes! Good. Everybody knows. You gotta touch your match. Okay. Now we've got our 5-man guard, and here's what Southern would do to us. And it was a real pickle. They had a guard in here, a good scoring guard, and they would dribble him out. All right, they put up 100 on us, and then we figured it out. They would dribble him out, and we weren't quite sure what to do. And some of our guards would overreact, and Isaiah might come over here. Go ahead and dribble out. Isaiah might come over here, and all of a sudden now they got an open, wild kick out 3, go ahead, and we can't guard him. Okay, and we're getting spread out from the rim here. So here's what we would do. Go ahead. Get in here to the high post. So we're matched. So we had a rule. Now this took time. This was not the first 10 games. This took time to teach. But once he got a catch, as he backs out, because we're in man, we would stay in man until the first pass. So my 5-man would come up here. You guys would be in your gap help. That's man defensive principles, okay? And on the first pass, let's say you pass it that way. Okay, we knew that was our rule. Boom, you're back to your spot. Here comes Marcus to take his matchup. All right, and you got your plan 2 right now. Okay, so that would happen at times. Now, we'll talk about the next thing in ball screens. Okay, so we didn't know all that stuff. We didn't know all that could happen until we started playing and watching film, and then we just came up with ways to guard it. But this gave us, we kept winning games with it because teams didn't have ideas on how to beat it. And it gave us time to just keep getting better and better. So let's talk ball screens now. Ball screens we're going to guard in man. Most teams either run that 3-around 2 offense, right? Or they run a ball screen offense. What do you got?
Can you show me from here if that ball were to be skipped, assuming the bottom guy would come out?
Correct.
And then how do you cover the corner?
Cover the skip. So there's like 2.
Yeah, that guy.
They got 2 guards. So I was getting a good question. Okay. So let's say right now they're 5 out, all right, and you're playing 2 here, okay? We had to start teaching our guys, and this was part of our warm-up drill. So we did that closeout, and we turned and looked corner, and we went and bodied up the post here, the short corner. Well, every once in a while, we would close out, and we would be yelling, you got 2, we know you got 2, and we would close out, and when we heard the word bum, which means Marcus is yelling bum, then we would have them fly to this corner and just contest. We contest every shot, and I'll explain your question here. But we want to practice contesting, all right? So every shot's got to be contested. We would rather give up a contested quarter 3 than bringing our middle man out, because what we would do sometimes, and we didn't realize it, let's say Sage is up here, you're playing 2. Let's say they threw it to the corner. Our middle guy would get excited. He would want to come out here. Don't do it. It's fool's gold. Don't do it. Teach your players to play really hard. Close out here knowing there's going to be a good bump, and just get Sage to contest this corner. If you bring Vlad out, they're going to pick you apart. They're going to have a slash right down the middle. No layups and no crazy threes. This is a 3 that we can contest and account for every once in a while. So let me show you the skip. So right now, Max is playing 2 right now, okay? He's got to be yelling, hey, I got 2. Let's say you skip to the top here, okay? Right here, Max has got to know personnel. If this is a non-shooter, then he closes out short. If it's a great shooter, he's got to close out harder, maybe 2 feet outside the 3-point line. But he knows he's got 2. This is where your guards up top. Isaiah and Marcus got to bust their butt. What we had the luxury of was we had really athletic guards who really cared up top. They wanted to play hard. We had long wings, and we had a really athletic big man. So it helped us. But Max has to trust that all he's got to do is stun him from shooting because he knows Marcus is coming, and And he's just got to turn here, and if they fire it, he's just going to contest. But we're going to keep flat in the middle here, because layups you can't account for. If they're killing you on that, then maybe you got to get more ball pressure or something. So I'll give you some ways to get out of it. Does that make sense? Thank you. That was our philosophy, was just contest. And we would watch, I don't know how much you guys get to watch film, but we would clip that. We would clip those actions and watch Roosevelt Adams, our All-American, every time bump and bump and contest. And more often than not, it didn't go in. But I say that, and then you'll probably give up your first three and then done the first time you try it. So let's talk and Coach Ryan, keep me on track for time.
Coach,
Yes.
sorry, real quick. So after the ball gets skipped and then you have that corner close out, since they're kind of closing down on top, what if they drive the baseline?
So yeah.
How do you fix that?
Yes, so drives are difficult too. We would scout our guys like, hey, this is a driver, you can't get driven, you got it. What's that?
So on the close out to the corner, would you kind of close out to the baseline so you don't get beat?
Well, here's the big thing. We know we've got our middle guy here, and so we just want contested twos. Now, to answer your question up top there too, I wouldn't tell you that we actually dictated this, but some of our guys did it on their own. If they knew they were playing two, they would close out here and try to put a hand in passing lane to slow that pass down, which creates a weird closeout angle. But we were okay closing out on top because we knew we had our middleman there. What is hard though is, let's say this guy up top with Marcus, if he drives it deep and gets in here, go ahead and drive it right into the middle and get deep right in here. Stop right here. This creates some real problems when they get in there like this. And so we would scout with our guys, like, you can't get driven that deep. And this is where you got to play with it. And again, this is where the shot clock helps you. But there are times where let's take one more step with you, man. They get so deep that at times when you get better at it, all of a sudden now Vlad can say, I got it. Your point guard shifts up and Isaiah shifts out. Now that takes a lot of practice, but that's how you dictate the drive. But on the baseline, we didn't overthink it too much. We just wanted our guys flying around. We had a couple of days that would take charges in there, which was nice. So, okay, ball screen offense. So some people will run continuous sets. Some people will run just a ball screen in general. This was our base. Let's bring come over here, my man. You switch back down to the short corner. You go to the short corner. You go to the high post. All right, you guys stay out. Come on, go to the opposite corner. Your high post. Okay. This is our base zone ball screen defense is the same as our man base. We black the wings, which is also called a blue or nice. We call it a black. So we're sending the ball to the baseline on the wings, or we plug the middle. That was our base. Now, Rick Majerus would always tell my old boss the best way to guard a ball screen is to change it lots of times. So we had some different ways, and I'll explain that to you here. But the base is when the ball's on the wing here, so we have to move over the wing. Let's say you're out over here. Okay? So Sage's matchup is here. Okay? If my big guy was coming out here and set a ball screen, you're yelling right now. Mo, good. I like that. Which is the Vlad. Let's talk it up for Vlad. Is Vlad a talker in practice a little bit sometimes? I like that. It's good. It's not, you should be embarrassed. I noticed that. I want to give scholarship money to people, so I noticed that. All right? Okay, most zones will come over and we call it a twist, and I'll explain the twist, but most zones get in trouble because they'll come over and they'll take their top guard and try and switch us. Well, the overside, or the opposite side is overloaded, and that creates a real problem. So we go man principles on ball screens. So if we yell black, Isaiah's going to jump to his top side here, even higher, okay? And we're playing ball screens with our middleman. It's our 5 and whoever's guarding the ball, okay? So, you're trying to set this thing, and if it's on the wing, so when I say wing, I'm talking 45-degree angle all the way to the sideline here. Okay, so now your players gotta figure that out a little bit. I would be more aggressive getting to a black, even if it's here, and if your players make an aggressive decision that this is the wing, and they jump to a black, be okay with it, let them play on it, alright? So he jumps to the top, Vlad's yelling, black, 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 alright? Now Sage is right here in his gap. This is a man principle for us. We're just in our gap, but that's your matchup, so you can't take this, alright? You just gotta stun at it and try and slow it down. And you're still staying in front of the rim. Now here's the big key. No kick out threes. So Marcus is gonna move out. This is his matchup. Okay, that's your matchup. No kick outs, all right? And so we're just trying to we want to force the ball inside the three-point line. And that's why we don't switch a ton up top, because we want them to get inside the three-point line. We want them to take contested twos. So right now, Isaiah's going to force him in here, okay? And Vlad here is just guarding the ball. Now, about this point, you would take the pop or that guy, and now Vlad's got the ball. And we're matched because the ball's inside here. All right? Now, let's say you get out to the other side, or the other short corner. There's times, go back here, Isaiah, get to your Vlad, go to your ball screen. There's times where we would realize, okay, we don't have a matchup in the corner. This is where Sage has got to be smart right now, and Vlad's yelling at him, Sage, you got it, you got it. So we would know, okay, there's no matchup, they're all opposite. So instead of using our middle man, because his matchup's on the backside, Sage can now step up and take this here, and Isaiah can take that. Okay, so we black the wings. Right now, let's set the ball screen in the middle here. So let's get right about here. You stay there. You're going to set a ball screen right here in the middle. Okay, go back to that one. So this is the hard one. All right, this is where you want, we call it a twist, and I'll explain it. This is where you want to twist with your guard, but I highly recommend not doing it. Force that ball inside the paint. So Marcus, go ahead and stay out. Go ahead and move out to your shooter out there. Okay? Now the ball's in the middle, and so we're yelling, plug, plug, plug. Now, our base defense with plugs means our 5 man's back, and you got to dictate a little bit of how far he's back. All right, it all depends on how good this guard is. But Isaiah this time, we always go over in our plugs. So Isaiah here is plug left. He's going to jump into his hit. Go ahead and go over the top of the screen. His hit. All right, and he's going to play from this angle now. Vlad's got the basket protected. Okay, and where am I going to be here? Isaiah, you got 2 Isaiah? All right, Isaiah's got a contested pull-up jumper right here. This Isaiah gets over the top part. That's our base. Now, when we went to the national tournament, and we were scrambling every night to put our scout together, and we kept winning games, one thing we would do every single night was we would watch their scoring guards, every single three-pointer they hit, and we would stat, do they shoot off the bounce? And you'll be shocked. Can they make shots off the bounce? You'll be shocked. There's not a lot of people that can make them, so come back. So we set the ball screen, so we would scout. This time we're going under on this guy. So what I mean by that is, as they're setting the screen, Isaiah would just slip under it and get back in front here. Okay? Now I'll show you a problem here with the pop here in a second. But in terms of the guy going under, that, in my opinion, that might seem like the way to do it. Like that should be the way to do it, right? Not many people hit shots off the bounce at a high rate. Okay? I prefer to actually save that till the end of the game and as a changeup, because that's when guys are tight and that's when your guys are playing really engaged and they're not. You get a kid who's loose in the first quarter and he feels good, he's gonna come off that sucker, raise up, he's got nothing to worry about. I prefer to use that later in the game in terms of going under. But here's the problem. Okay, now we see a problem here with so that's our base, blacks and plugs. But we see a problem. My guy right here, go ahead and set the screen. If this is a big time 4-man that's popping, we would dictate this in our scout. What number are you? Okay, so we would go, if number 19 is setting a ball screen, we are twisting ball screens no matter what. Now this is intricate into a scout, and so I would keep your base defense always, but as you start to know who guys are, maybe a team has a 4-man who every time he sets it, he pops. Okay, so if he pops, go ahead, he's coming off. If he pops, we're in a real pickle here. We're in a problem. Okay, because now we got to play 2. So we would go ahead and twist these actions. So here, let me show you what I mean by twist. Go back here to this set. So we're yelling, twist, twist, twist. That means Marcus this time is going to come up like a lot of traditional zones will do, and he'll switch this action. But here's what's really important with this. I prefer to have Marcus jump, switch it, so I want him to, the second he sees this happen, Vlad's got to be yelling, hey, this is a twist, because he sees 19. All of a sudden, Marcus needs to jump up here and switch right on top. I don't want him to be unaggressive, sit back in there, because what happens is now we've got an overload over here. We ran into problems not understanding. We understood the top part of the twist, and then Isaiah would take the pop, right? So we've taken care of the pop. That's no longer a problem anymore. But we ran into problems not understanding the backside. When we're twisting, we need our top guard to come up here to this match And we need to move our 5-man to straddle this block right here. Okay, so you're going to straddle the block. Okay? Because we've got to play the overload here. So that's why I like Marcus to jump it here, so they can't just fire it to the opposite side, because they're going to create an overload. Okay? So again, now that we throw it here, Marcus, what you got to do is on the wings, you got to bump, and Max just has to play 2. We ran into problems with letting Vlad go to the corner, and then they would just slash it out of the rim and dump it down. Don't do it. I'm telling you, don't do it. Have your wings trained to close out, get bumped quickly, and contest the corner through. Okay? So, any questions on the ball screen stuff? So we're playing man with our ball screens, and that was good for us. There are teams that will just go ball screen every single time. But what it's doing is, for us, our top guards were really athletic, and our middleman was the defensive player of the year. So every ball screen involved those players. Never once was our wing ever in a ball screen. So we technically hit those guys, right? So you can dictate. I know University of Idaho plays in zone, and they like to put their long 3 or 4 man up top because it creates some deflection. There are teams like, we do this every once in a while, but we don't dictate it. Isaiah, the ball's up here on that wing, and maybe they're all backside. Isaiah might actually turn his shoulders. Montana Western does this, and he makes it really hard for them to just fire the ball around the perimeter. Okay? But what you'll notice here too, and this is happening with Isaiah, there are a lot of teams that when you're big and long and you're not letting them reverse the ball, they start moving out here. We have so many teams in our league that didn't even realize. Go ahead and throw here. And good. You don't want to close out too far. Let's go heels on 3-point line. Don't overplay because we're going to open ourselves up. He can't shoot from here. This is not an option for 90% of people. And there's a lot of teams that will back their players up off the zone when your feet are on when your heels are on the 3-point line. So those are little things to see. All right. I've got a few things. Tell me my time. 5 minutes.
Our team started to put more skilled player in the high post and try to take the 5 off the dribble and
So OIT, and so I have a few more things to tell you guys. You guys actually take a seat real quick. Or you hang out for a second. Maybe there's some questions. Sorry, maybe there's some questions. The best thing people did against us was they put their scoring guard on top. Now again, it's got to hit a contested shot over your middleman, so hopefully you have a middleman that's active and can contest shots. But St. Francis in the Final Four did it to us in the second half. They didn't know in the first half to do it. They did it in the second half, and the kid just got hot and we couldn't score. OIT did it to us. They had the co-conference player of the year with a little guard they put in there. So there were times where we had different, so if that started happening to us, we would go 21. So 21 is our zone to man on the first pass. If you guys don't take the zone, I'll tell you right now, put 21 in, just as a changeup, it'll save you 2 possessions late in the game maybe, and it just messes with the team. If somebody's executing tons of man offense and you can't guard it, all you want them to do is get out of their man set, disrupt their offense a little bit, and then you can go back to it. You don't have a secondary defense. But so what we would do is 21 is I'm going to go ahead and go to the high post here. Marcus, I grab the ball. Okay. Or Isaiah, that's fine. Isaiah, you take the ball. Go ahead. Okay. On the first pass, we're already yelling 21, and right here we're in man. And I know that seems really simple, but I'm telling you, we save possession after possession. So maybe they're killing us from the high post. Now here's the key though. If they're putting their scoring guard here, and maybe that's their 5-man, Sage and Vlad need to be talking on the first pass. I got high, because we don't want our 5-man to guard their best player. So you got to know where your matchups are a little bit. It's really most important where your 5 is matching up to. But 21's away. We did a diamond in one that we did for 2 straight games to get some scoring, and it worked really well. Same principles as this, but we actually followed the best player around tonight. Then we had it in our arsenal to take with the high post. I think this year I'm actually going to implement a 1-3-1 because that will take the middle away. I was going to do like corners or whatever, but we're going to keep the zone concept, but we're going to force them to do this somewhere else. So you got to have a counter to it. There were games late in the second half of the season where we had to go man because we couldn't afford to give up a wide open shot with 5 minutes left. Mentally, we couldn't do it. But so that's the best thing to do.
They're pretty smart in their situation, sounds like.
Correct. Because if you execute this stuff, you have to play one-on-one. So, but a lot of coaches won't put their best player at the top of the zone. They put their 4, their 5 because they don't know where else to put them, right? And so half the teams are going to beat just because they don't know who to put up. Then the other half, potentially maybe you guard the guy well, even though he's a good player, you wall up. Now, most of the time it's a smaller guard, that's 4 or 5. So there's ways to play with it.
The other thing you showed earlier is, get exactly how the scheme was, but eventually it's like it turned into a spread. And was there a little vulnerability on that communication piece? Did it go 5 minutes later down on that spread?
Yeah, we had to rep it out. We repped out, if they pull you out, we wait till the next pass and then we bump. Like that was a rule, and we had to rep it. And that doesn't happen a ton. There was one team that did to us, but they beat us on it. When teams go 5 out, that's where you gotta get in those passing lanes and slow them down. You gotta teach your guys to contest work reads, but don't guard 5 out with your middle man. Don't let them go corner to corner, because teams that go 5 out, they want to hit threes. Well, they get complimented by getting 20 points off the wide open layups because you're trying to take all the threes from them. You know what I mean? So you just play hard, get contested deflections, and rebound the ball every time against their 5 out. So I don't have quite enough time to tell you. I'll tell you a little bit of some other things. We pressed into it every time to slow them down. This is what can help you at the beginning of the season. Take some time. How long is the shot clock? 35. Okay, so we're 30. Press a little bit to take time off the clock so they don't have enough time to run a ton of actions, right? So we started soft press. We started the year in a 1-2-2 where we trapped the ball, but we gave up the throwback. We didn't want to steal the throwback. We wanted to keep everybody else behind the ball. So now we got a trap. Maybe we did deflection, maybe we don't. They got to play pass and catch. And we would trap it probably 2 or 3 times, but we still got the people behind the ball. Does that make sense? A 1-2-2 where we didn't take the inbounder away. That was good. And then you get teams that can beat that. We got real conservative at the beginning of the year because we got good at our zone. We just went 2-2-1. 2-2-1 could really screw guys up too. And all of a sudden you 35 is 24 when they get set up. Then they make their first couple passes. They get to their high post at 17 and it's game on. Like it's hard. I would press to take away some, at least a soft trap, to take away some time. So that way they can't move the ball to extra actions. We pressed a lot. We guarded out of bounds as well. Any other questions though? I know that was, no, please, by all means, I love talking about it.
Rebounding, you were talking about how rebounding is so successful. Is that probably just because of the match? Is that many words?
It's all because of the match. Yep. It's all because of the match. Because that's what everybody says. Well, I can't rebound out of the zone. Well, even if they dribble up and take a 3, like there's no inner, it's easy when they enter inside, right? Because then we are matching, we're touching, and now we know how to block out. But even if they dribble up and just wide shoot a 3, if somebody was to do that, Sage still knows where his matchup is because we've taught him. Vlad knows where his matchup is because we've taught him. Now it's just an arms race to see if he can actually do it. We never had an issue in terms of knowing our matchups. Sometimes we got help play, here and there, but it helped us with rebounding the time. Yeah.
Can you speak on the diamond?
Yes, so the diamond in 1, and I'll be quick, but the diamond in 1, let's have the offense step up. Actually, you are right there. Yeah, so Marcus will be up top, Cindy, you Max move up, Vlad in the middle, and you're just, so, always deny him, right? Not let him get a catch at all. Okay, now the rules of the diamond in 1 is you don't ball him until the ball goes to the corner, so who's got that ball? Okay, so I've got a catch. Let's say Isaiah gives up because a lot of players will just do that. Isaiah goes downward. You stay with him, Isaiah. Okay, so you still have a match. You guys are matched up. Sage has me right now. Now here's where it's a little different. Vlad's got to get to the block because if they throw it to the corner, go ahead, go to the corner again. If they throw it to the corner, that's when you bump in the diamond. You don't bump unless it goes to the corner. So if you throw it to the corner, Vlad's got to either take the shot away. He's got to rotate it over. But now Sage is going to bump, get your big guy back in the paint, okay? And now Marcus has got to come over here and take this, all right? And we're matched again. But we won't rotate out of this. Let's say the ball goes back up top. We won't rotate until the ball gets swung again. Okay, you guys swing over here, Max can take it, Marcus, your matchup's there. Then I throw to the corner again. Vlad's taking the shot away. Max is coming to bump him back. Go back to the middle. Sage will move up. And you find your new matchup. So that's the only rule. In the diamond, you don't bump till the ball goes to the corner. If they do this, if they throw out here, we would start games with our top guy coming to get it. And we would just get the ball out of his hands. But what happened there sometimes was the teams were smart. Come up here, Marcus. They were smart, they would throw over the top, right here, and then they would attack us. And so if they start doing that, then what we would do is let Isaiah go ahead and guard Marcus coming in. We wouldn't trap until he got into three-point range here, all right? Maybe they go to set a ball screen, come up here, Isaiah, dribble up here. Maybe they go to a ball screen, on the ball screen. Marcus and Isaiah would trap this hard, all right? As long as he's kind of within scoring range. We had to make that change up a couple times. It's funny, I'll tell you what's funny about the zone. We went to Diamond 1 against Eastern Oregon, we were down 8-0. We were giving a layup. But then because it was our main defense, we just stuck with it, and we went on a 10-minute deal where they couldn't score. So if you're willing to stick with it and let your guys learn a little bit, where their mistakes are, you can fix them quickly, and then by the end of the game, they're a lot. I've never seen players panic so much playing against this type of. And it's an ego deal, right? That was an ego deal. Coaches don't want to do it. My boss didn't want to do it. He worked for Rick Harris and Allen. Right? I've all summer been trying to convince myself why we should do this again. And then I looked at the stats, and we kicked butt with it last year. So now again, we changed the middleman. We don't change any other position on the court. We have everybody back except our middleman. Could be totally different. So who knows? You guys might be seeing me play man all season, even though I just give you all these tricks. So any other questions about that? No? Awesome. I hope that made sense. I know it seems simple, and it should be simple to you guys, but I'm telling you, as a secondary defense, if you don't want to play it as a main defense, let them shoot that high post shot. You will watch teams crumble time after time after time. If a kid misses it the first time, they will crumble. They won't want to shoot it again. And to be honest, it's really hard because we don't spend a lot of time going over zone offense. It's really hard for coaches to make adjustments because there's not a huge adjustment here. It's one-on-one with the high post. So, I love talking about it. If you guys want, I'll tell you my phone number right now. Unfortunately, I didn't bring any sheets with me. You can find my email online. Please text me, call me. Seriously, I love chatting about this stuff. My number is 208-340-7588, and that's my cell. Feel free to text me, call me if you have questions. Even during the season, if you guys are like, hey, I played it last night and this happened, what would you do? Please call me. I swear I'll call you back. But up here at Tom, we have a kid named Keon Colby Thompson from Wilson High School, senior for us. Coach DJ, or Dominique Jordan, played at Curtis High School, won a state championship down there in Tacoma. He was the first team all-conference guy for us a couple years ago and graduated. So we're up here a lot, and hopefully we can continue to be up here more. So let's give these guys a round of applause. Thank you, guys.